Assalamu alaikum. Myself Ehkam Ansari. Student, I am back again with yet another video lecture of information technology. In our previous lecture, we have seen decision making statement, in which we have seen if statement, okay, where we check certain condition, and if the condition is true, we have to run or we have to execute a line of code. But in today's lecture, we will see if as well as else condition or else statement, where we have to write or we have to work with two blocks. If means we have to work with the true blocks, and else means we have to work with the false block, that is the else block. Means if and else are two statements which are used in decision making, and on certain decision, on certain condition, if the condition is true, then if block will execute, and if condition is false, then else block will execute. We will see how we write else block and how we write if block. Okay, so let's have a look on if blocks, which we have already learned, but let's have a refresh. Means in if statement we have to put certain condition, okay, because student, remember, in else block we don't write any condition, because else is a default code which will execute when condition is false. Okay, means we are not going to write any condition inside the else block. Okay, so inside if statement we will write certain condition, and we will check if condition is true, then we will execute certain line of code and we can end up. But if you want to execute further code on the basis of false condition, means this condition will this code of block will execute when condition is true, but when condition is false, what will happen? Are you getting my point? Means if you are using only if statements, you can execute only the code when your condition is true. But in certain cases we have to write code for the both the condition, means if your statement is true or if your statement is false. So in that case you have to use if else statements, where if block will indicate the true block and else block will indicate the false block. Okay, so if we have seen, like, an if statement is a conditional statement in programming language which is used to verify a condition. Means inside if we will write a condition and we will check if the condition returns true value. Okay, if the condition is true, if the condition is satisfied, then it will execute a block of code, and that block of code is written over here. Means if you have to write, this is the compulsory, then inside this circle bracket you have to put certain condition, and it will check condition. If condition is true, it will enter inside that block, that is called as a true block or satisfies block. Okay, where condition is satisfied, where condition is true, then it will execute this line of code. But in certain cases, if condition is false, okay, so you have not written any line of code, so we have to include else block to execute the false condition or the false line of code. So let's have a look on else block. So this is an example which we have seen in our last lecture. I am moving towards else statement. What is else statement? Just read down. Else statement is in programming language. I am talking about all programming language, because if and else are the statement or decision making statement which supports almost all programming language. Okay, so else statement in programming language indicates the false section of a condition statement. False section means, if you just switch to this example, so we have two things. Okay, one section I have given as a if section, and the second section is given as I have else section. Okay, so in first section I have if, after that I have a condition where a is a name of variable in which we have stored some value, and again b is a name of variable in which we have stored some value. Okay, so I am going to check the value of a is greater than b. Okay, or you can say a is greater than b. For example, just put a equal to 10 and b equal to 20. Just consider the value of a is 10 and the value of b is 20. So by evaluating this expression, you will come to know that a is 10 and b is 20. So 10 is greater than 20. So tell me, student, condition is true or false? So here if you put a equal to 10 and b equal to 20, so this will give a false result because this is not a correct. Okay, this is not a correct, means a is not a greater than 10 is not greater than 20, so it will directly switch to false section, that it will come inside the else section. Are you getting my point? By using if and else condition, the first block is called as a true block or if block, and the second is called as a else block. Okay, so if this condition is not true, the by default value it will come inside the else, and inside else we are not going to write any condition. Okay, else is a default value, means if this is not true, by default it will be false. Are you getting my point? If this condition is not true, this condition will be false. Okay, so when the condition is true, it will come inside the top block, that is the if block, and when condition is false, it will come inside the false block, or it's called the else block. Okay, so if and else both are encoded with the curly bracket, these are the block. Okay, but the difference is that if inside the if condition, if statement, we have to put certain condition, but inside the else we are not going to put any condition because it is a default. Means I have 2 coins. I just want to explain. I have 2 coins. The one is of rupees 5 and one is of rupees 10. If I ask, I have a coin of 5 and 10, but in my right hand I have coin of 10. So what is which coin I have in my left hand? Are you getting my point? So this is the default value. If you don't have 5, so by default it will be 10. In the same way, if this condition is not true, means if this condition is false, it will directly come inside that. Means if a is greater, it's okay. If a is greater, for example, if I put the value of a as a 20 and the value of b is as a 10, so a is greater than b, 20 is greater than b, condition is true. So when condition is true, it will run this line of code. It will not go inside that else part. But if this condition is false, it will not go inside that block, it will directly switch to else part. Okay, we will see in programming. I will give an example live so you will get the clear picture what is else statement. But for timing, just try to understand, we use if and else at the same time. We never use else statement alone. Okay, most of the time you will see if condition we use in number of the time alone, but else statement you will never see alone, because if and else both are work simultaneously. Okay, so now we are moving toward our notepad application, in which we will execute or we will write a line of code in which we will see how if and else condition work, how these statements work, how we write a statement or condition inside the if, and how it will move to both the block on the basis of our condition is true or false. So we will see a simple question and we will try to solve that question, in which you will understood what is if and what is else. So my question would be, accept a value. Okay, I just want to move back to my notepad. Inside that I will write question. Okay, let me create a simple HTML page, doc type HTML, and this is my HTML tag, and this is my closing HTML tag. Between opening and closing I will add some other tag like head tag, then closing head tag. Okay, after that I will have body tag, closing body tag. Okay, these are my basics HTML elements or HTML tags which are required. Now I am going to add h1 and closing h1. Inside that I am going to write a question, accept value from user and display greater value. Okay, this is my question. This is my question means we have to accept two values. Let me write accept two values. Okay, I have written accept two values from user and display greater value. Means we have to accept two value from user and we have to display which is greater. Okay, so let me show the output for this. This is the purely HTML. So I'm going to save on desktop. My file name is greater.html. Okay, let me save it. I am going back to show the output. This is my file which I have just created. So this is our output which we are getting by using HTML. Accept two values from user and display greater value. Okay, so this is my question in which we have to accept two values, means we have to use prompt box. Are you getting my point? We have to use prompt box. So I will go back in my notepad file and I will declare, means I have to write JavaScript, so I can write inside the body tag or I can write inside the head tag. So I am going to write inside the body tag. I will write script language equals to JavaScript. Okay student, this thing we have done a number of the time. That's why I am not going to focus more on these HTML tags. These are the required tag for any scripting language. Now I have to declare two values. Okay, for example, my first value is var a comma b. Okay, var a comma b. I have declared two variable. Var is a keyword which is used to declare a variable, and a is a name of first variable and b is a name of second variable. So I have declared two variable. Now I am going to accept value from user. So I will write a equal to prompt. Inside that I will say enter value for a. Okay, so by using this line, again it is something like your revision of prompt. By using this line or this line of code, this will create a prompt box. Okay, so when you enter any value, it will store inside variable a, because you have to do a equal to prompt enter value for a. After that we have to accept same for b. So I have just copied it, control V, and here I will say b equal to, because I have declared two variable, one variable a, so I have accepted value a from prompt, and b I have declared, so b equal to prompt enter value for b. So it will store inside this variable. After that, for checking, let me check whether the value is coming or not. I will write document dot write. Here I will write a. After that, control C I will press, control V, document dot write b. Okay, understood what I have done? I have declared two variable, then I have accepted value from user by using prompt, then I am going to display this value accepted from user. Okay, so let me save it and flip back to your browser, refresh it. Now you are getting the first prompt box which is saying enter value for a. I say my first value is 25, so this value will store in variable a. I say okay. Again it is saying enter value for b. I will say my second value is 50, so it will store inside variable a. Then you have written document dot write a and document dot write b, so you will get output as a 25 and 50. Getting? You are getting over here. Let me zoom it. Okay, you are getting 25 and 50. Because why it's coming in same line? Because we have not used any br or new line. That's why it's coming in same line. Okay, so finally the value is coming on my browser. So my question is, let me remove this, or let me comment it. You know what is mean by comment? Now this line will not execute, means you will not get, your value will not display the display line you have commented. Let me save it. So if you forget this thing, it will refresh you. Okay, first value is 10. Okay, second value is 20. Now you will not get nothing. Why? Because the line which is used to display you have commented. This line I have commented, that's why we are not getting any value on my browser. So now I am coming to my question. Okay, my question says accept two values. So I have declared two values and I have accepted. Yes or no? By using this prompt I have accepted, or I can accept. When I run this program I can accept. So this part is finished. Accepted value from user. And display, now we have to display, but when we have to display, we have to display the greater value. We don't want to display both value. We want to display greater value. Okay, we have to display greater value. Means before displaying any of the value, we have to check which value is greater. Okay, which value is greater. So how we come to know which value is greater? Means we have to check which value is greater. Means we have to use decision statement. I'm going to remove this. I will write, means we have to take certain decision which value is greater. So I will put if, inside bracket I will write if A is greater than B. Okay, after that I have to write the block. This is if block. Means if this condition is true, then this block will execute. This block, this is the opening curly bracket and this is the closing curly bracket. This block is called as a true block. Means if this condition is true, then what will say? You will say document dot write. You will simply say A is greater. Yes or no? You will simply say A is greater, because what is condition? If A is greater than, if A is greater means condition is true. If A is greater means condition is true. When condition is true, you want to display this message, that is A is greater. In the same way, if condition is false, what will happen? False means you have to write else. So inside that you have to write, this is the else block, where we are not going to write any condition. Means either A will be greater or B will be greater. So if I have checked A is not greater, so by default this line of code will execute, else part will execute. No need to check again and again, because if we have two things, one thing is confirm. Okay, if this is true, it will by default false. If this is false, it will be true. Are you getting my point? So I have written both the statement, if block as well as else block. Then on the basis of value, on the basis of decision, the code will be executed. So I am going to write this one, Control C and Control V over here. Document dot write B is greater. Means if A is not greater, means if this condition is false. When this condition will be false, when A is not greater. So by default, who will be greater? B will be greater. Okay, let me show the output. Save, flip back to your browser, refresh it. Now what is saying? Enter value for A. Okay, I have entered value as 100. Okay, then click OK. So this 100 will store inside variable A. Yes or no? Yes. Again it is saying enter value for B. I have saved value for B is a 50. So the value of A is 100 and value of B is 50. So it will go inside the if statement or decision making statement, and it will check 100 is greater than 50. Condition is true or false? Condition is true. So you will get output as A is greater. Why it's coming B is greater? I think we have missed something. if A is greater than B, document dot write A is greater and B is greater. I think I have entered some other value. Let me save, refresh. The value of A is 50, okay, and the value of B is 25. Okay, getting. Let me show the output A and B too. I will write A plus and I will write B plus. Okay, now at the same time it will display the value of A and B too. So let me save, refresh. If value of B A is 50, the first value is 50, okay, and the second value is 100. Why it's coming 50 is greater? Control F. Yes, it's working, not an issue. Okay, F5 I have pressed. The value of A I have pressed 50. I have clicked OK. The value of B I have pressed 25. Means the answer could be A. Okay, A is greater. In the same way, if I put the value of A as a 50 and the value of B as a 100, so the output will be 100. Wow, why it's coming like that? F5, value of A is 50, value of B is 100, so A is coming. Okay, one thing we can do, we can use prompt parse int, maybe parse int, and I am going to use parse int. Parse int function, we know, we have seen parse int function in our built-in function, where parse int function is used to convert your string into integer. Maybe it's because of string it's not able to convert enter value for A, value for B. Let me show the output. Let me check first. Yes, I have refreshed. The value of A is 50. Okay, the value of B is 100. Now B is 100, B is greater. Okay, finally it's working. Value of A is 10 and value of B is 20. Okay, 20 is greater. Okay, the value of A is 54 and the value of B is 50. Now A will be greater. 54, A is greater. Finally, what was the problem? Actually, the problem was with the prompt. Okay, initially it was tried to convert or try to check by using parse. We have not used parse int. Okay, and we know prompt function is used to accept value, and it is accept in the form of string, and we cannot compare string. Okay, we cannot compare which is greater, A is greater or B is greater. Okay, because both are the string, so we can compare in number. So first we need to convert it into number, then we have to check by using if and else condition. Okay, so by using parse int function we have converted the value accepted by the prompt, and then we have stored inside A and B. After that we are going to check by using if statement. If the condition is true, so this block will execute. If condition is false, this block will execute. Okay, now we'll accept one more question. Now we are going to check one more thing. Means we have to accept. I'm going to change the question. Accept age from. I'm going to write accept age from user. Okay, student, in this I am going to add one more question. Accept age from user and display proper message. Okay, accept age from user and display proper message. Okay, so I will declare a variable called age, where age, and I will remove all these things, this one, and here I will put age variable. Are you getting what I am doing? I have declared a variable which name is age, and inside that I am going to accept from user some value. If age is greater than 21, this question we have done, but we have seen only if condition. Means if you are eligible, then you can cast out, and if you are not eligible, if your age is not up to that particular age, you can't vote. So we will display different message on the basis of his or her age. Okay, so document dot write, we can put not if age is greater than 21. If your age is greater than 21, now you can write eligible for marriage. Okay, eligible for marriage, and same I will copy, Control C, Control V. Not eligible. Sorry, not eligible. Okay, student, now we have created a program in which we have to accept this question may come in your examination. The sentence may be different, but the logic is same. Means we have to accept some value. Most of the time a question you will get in your examination that accept age from user and check whether the person can vote or not, and in certain note it may have given that the age must be of 18 year. Okay, so it up to you, or it's examiner what question they can give in your examination, but the logic is same. Is first we have to declare a variable, inside that we have to store some value which is accepted from user. Means you have to use prompt message. And please, if you are going to perform any arithmetic operation, you have to use parse int function, because prompt function is used to accept value, but it used in the form of string only, so it is needs to convert into integer. So I have accepted, I have created this variable, then I have accepted by using this prompt. Now I am going to check by using decision making statement. It is a if. So if condition will true, this block will execute. If condition is false, this block will execute. This is called the else block. There is a false block. This is called the true block. Means if condition is true, this line will execute. So let me show. Save it, flip back to your browser, refresh it, enter value for A. I don't want to write this message, enter value for A. I will say enter your age. Okay, I will say enter your age. So you are getting enter your age. So I will enter 32. Okay, I will click OK. Now eligible for marriage you will get. Why? Because your age is more than 21. Eligible for marriage, you are getting message eligible for marriage. Okay, again if I refresh and if I enter my age is 19. Okay, I have entered my age as a 19. Sorry, not eligible for marriage. Okay, so we can do some funny thing in by using JavaScript. So this is a very interesting language. Once you will learn, you will do a number of the things by using JavaScript. So now we have started a little bit. Finally we have seen if, and then in this lecture we have seen else and if at the same time. So if is basically used for checking a condition, and on the basis of condition, if condition is true, then it will execute certain block of code, and if condition is false, then it will execute else block of code. Okay, so that's for today. If you have any question, any query related to if and else, please feel free to post your question, your query. Inshallah, I will try to respond you soon. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.